Hello everyone, welcome to Crowd Freedom. Crowd Freedom is a nonviolent movement to create free societies throughout the world. As many of you are probably aware, governments are the biggest problem in the world. Not just democratic governments, socialistic governments, even capitalistic governments like America. It's the whole foundation of government itself which is the problem. All governments depend on taxation in order to provide services and in order to keep society going. And in order to tax people, you must use violence. And that is the fundamental problem with government. All governments use violence because they initiate taxation. Sure, you might say you don't have to pay your taxes, but if you don't pay your taxes, within a few months you're going to have an officer show up at your house and they're going to demand your taxes. If you still refuse to pay your taxes, then you're going to be forcefully put in jail. And if you refuse to be put in jail, they will find a way to put you in jail. So governments depend on taxation, and in order to tax, governments use force. So that's the fundamental problem with government, as well as a whole litany of other problems, which we will get into with time. But for starters, that is the main problem. So, what do we do about that? As I'm sure many of you have asked yourselves. A lot of us try to rework government. We think that maybe if we get a certain person to office, or if we vote a certain way, or if we tell our friends to do this, that we will somehow get change going. And I don't really believe in that anymore. I think that the system has to be reworked completely. I don't think we can actually change the system because the system is built on violence, which creates a ton of distortions in just the way society functions in general. So I think we need to find ways to do what government does non-violently. I think we need to find ways to cooperate with each other and to make society function without government. And I think the more that you look into this and think about it from a different view, you will see that it is actually entirely possible to do, and that it makes a lot more sense, it's cheaper, and just overall better. So I hope that you will read into this, research these things, and continue to follow Crowd Freedom as we delve more into these topics. So to go more into this, we need to shift our resources from supporting governments to supporting free market societies. Right now, governments don't make money at all. Government's source of income is taxation or inflation and some other scandalous type operations, if you will. But their main source of foundation is taxation. And we need to shift from putting that money into government through taxation to putting it into the actual societies we want through paying for services we want. Rather than taking our tax dollars and say, okay, let's all pool our money together and create a police force with tax dollars. What we could do instead is choose to support private police forces and pay a service fee to them. Taxes is basically a subscription fee, but with taxes we're forced to do it, and if the company provides a bad job and we want to unsubscribe, we can't. So every month or every year we're still paying the taxes to this monopoly police service that we are forced to use. Why can't we have multiple police forces? Why can't I create a police force and people choose to support my police force if we do a good job? Why can't police forces undercut other police forces if they can do a better job for cheaper? And that's what the whole point of shifting our resources from government to the private sector is all about. And that's that's the sort of thing I hope to do with Crowd Freedom as we find ways to create free societies. So, in part with that, as people who understand the free market say, if a company does a poor job in the free market, that company is probably going to go out of business, unless of course they somehow run to the government and get some type of grant or some type of legal favoring. But in general, if you have a free market without crony capitalism government, you're going to go out of business when you do a bad job. And when you do a good job, you're going to get lots of money. People are going to pay for your services. People are going to happily give you money for you to exchange whatever product or service you're giving them. So that's what the whole idea behind Crowd Freedom is about letting people compete to provide services that government normally services. Entrepreneurs are very smart, entrepreneurs are very creative, and they're always finding ways to do things better for less money. And that's, if there's any place we need to do things better for less money, it's government. It's courts, it's police, it's roads, it's education, it's all these things which government currently holds a monopoly on. When we break this monopoly up into private companies competing to do a good job at these services, you're going to get the creativity and the innovation that you see in other free markets like the internet. Why is the internet cheap and why is the internet so good? Because it's a free market. Because if people do a bad job, they get fired. If people can't give you an internet connection and get you information quickly, if it's like the old days of dial-up and it takes forever to download a video, they're going to go out of business because somebody's going to find a way to do it quicker through broadband. And that's what needs to happen throughout the rest of society. But it can't happen because government holds a monopoly on it. So, the first step to Crowd Freedom is the book I wrote. The book is called Crowd Freedom: How to Create a Free Society Without Government. The book is entirely free. It is online, and you can find it at crowdfreedom.com/book. And I invite you to come read this book and to share it with your friends. It's a book outlining many of these things I'm talking about, and it goes into much more detail, showing why doing government through a free society, a free market system, is much better than doing it the way we are now through socialism or just governments in general. The book is about showing you how to create a government with nonviolence as opposed to violence. But it's not really about creating a government. It's creating a free society. It's about replacing government with something better. Because government is outdated and it's time for it to go. So the first step is the book. The next step is going to be answering questions and developing a plan and an outline for how a free society would work. I'm just one person. I've looked into this quite a bit myself, and I have my own opinion on how this could work, but there are tons of people much more smarter than me, people who understand specific fields much better than I do, and they can share their expertise on the website in those fields on how the best way is to do things. Now, I'm not talking about central planning where we have one free society entity that runs everything. I'm talking about sharing ideas and figuring out how a free society could work, and from there allowing people to actually deploy not just one free society, but as many as possible to create competition and many of the favorable aspects of a free market. So the purpose of Crowd Freedom isn't to create a better central government. The purpose of Crowd Freedom is to create a movement where people know they can create their own societies outside of the current monopoly government that uses force that we have now. So that's what I want to accomplish with this. I understand it's a big goal, but we need to do a big goal right now because the way we're doing government is not very good. I know I think it's a joke. I think it's absurd, the stupidity, the slop, it's just everything government does, it's outdated, and it's like you're dealing with third graders. The whole thing is just sad. And when you actually deal in the business world with people who find ways to make money and who are creative and innovative, and then you compare those people with the government system and the way that it rewards failure, it's just, why would we use government if we have better ways to do things? It just doesn't make sense. And right now we feel trapped, like we have to have government and we have to rework within the governmental system, but we don't have to. We created the government system and we can get rid of it if we want to. So I think we need to start getting rid of it and just doing something better, because it's government's holding us back more than anything else in the world. This movement, it's for anybody in the world. I'm located in the United States, but anybody throughout the world is welcome to join, and we encourage people from all throughout the world to join. And we hope to slowly gain momentum and actually make something work. I come from a business background. I've built many businesses in the last 10 to 15 years. My whole life I've been an entrepreneur. It's something I love. And I view this as just another business. How does it make money? I don't fully know yet. A lot of times when you go into businesses, you don't know how they make money. You know that you do a business because it's something you're passionate about and you feel necessary. And as that business starts to take shape, and as people start to come around and join you and help out, you start to see how it might make money, how it might not make money. Maybe this will never make money. Who knows? But I know that there is something here, and it's a very necessary, important step for society. When Google first started, they didn't have any revenue model. They just knew they wanted to organize the world's information using the new technology of the internet. And they just set out, they did that goal, they built it the best they could, they enjoyed it, they were passionate about it, and then eventually they stumbled upon their great revenue model, AdWords, their advertising network, which still makes up like 98% of their revenue. So pretty much all of Google's revenue comes from their advertising network, and they're killing it. And they had no clue that would be their revenue model when they started. They just wanted to do something great. And that's what I want to do with this. I don't know what the revenue model is. I don't know if there will be one, but I know there's people who see a similar vision to what I see. And I'm hoping to attract those people and help form the voice of those people into a movement that we can all be a part of and grow together. It's a nonviolent movement. It's an entrepreneurial free market movement, and it's a movement to move society forward. So if you are interested in joining, please do so. Crowdfreedom.com is the website. You can read the book online for free now. I just released it about a month ago. And thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.